My name is Julie Allen, and I represent the townhouses at Lanier. I addressed this board on November 1st in public comment. I would like to add additional comments to clarify and correct the record. Please know that I may request additional time to respond to a demand letter that I received from developer attorney Joshua Scoggins. It has been brought to my attention that former Forsyth County senior planner Teresa Moore and Danny Monroe Bennett are not related. I made an error in writing that they share a familial relationship. Further, Ms. Cox completed the Development of Regional Impact DRI 1200 form in 2006, while Mr. Bennett did not become involved in the project until 2017. Please forgive me for that. There is also concern that in a recent television interview that aired on Channel 2 News that I stated, they're looking at removing the dam, which will allow this water, this contaminated water, potentially flow into Lake Lanier directly without the buffering of a dam to stop the silt and chemicals. To clarify, I would like to add to the record the stormwater easement agreement for pond number 1. I've given that to you, to each of you as the commissioners. I would also like to add to the record photos of a marked storm drain into Pond 1 and EPA source material for the statements, rain and snow flow over the streets, parking lots, and roofs, collecting excess nutrients and pollutants before entering into a storm drain or water body. Because stormwater flows over hard surfaces directly into a water body or storm drain, there is no opportunity for soil and plants or a water treatment facility to filter out these pollutants. Removing the dam between pond number 1 and Lake Lanier remains a significant environmental concern, especially since both the Grossman Engineering Report and Register Nelson include 4.5 acres of open water. I understand there is a plan to remove the pond number 1 dam. To be clear, I do not know the results of water testing. Can this board or any county staff bring clarity to this concern and provide the results of the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission recommended soil testing? What about groundwater sampling and turbidity testing? The Forsyth County Engineering Inspector on November 8, 2018 stated, "As for the soil and water testing, I'm not sure of any government agency that does that or oversees it. I have no idea where to even recommend you start there." Does Forsyth County have competency to manage this project? Development has been proceeding at the site. Has Forsyth County ignored the GMRC finding land disturbance at the site will require strict adherence to erosion and sedimentation controls and should be coupled with soil testing to determine the extent and potency of any potential contaminants? The Georgia Mountain Regional Commission in the Development of Regional Impact Summary DRI 1200 stated, "Project has been used as a golf course and therefore potentially hosts various chemicals and toxins within the soils. It has also been suggested portions of the site have been used for illegal dumping. As such, land disturbance on the site will require strict adherence to erosion and sedimentation controls and should be coupled with soil testing to determine the extent." Excuse me.
Any more time, Ms. Allen?
If I may.
And about a minute, we'll do it.
I've signed up for the second session as well. Okay. Wanting to be considerate of others who are here. If I may have another minute or just table it to the second half, I'd be happy.
Whatever you'd like to do.
Okay.
You'll need a motion to add one.
Yeah, if you want a minute, well, I need to get a motion, or you can go to the second one, either way.
Motion to add a minute.
All right, we have a motion, a second to add a minute. Please vote. 4-0, you have a minute. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your kindness. Further, stormwater management will be critical for the project site given the projected volume of impervious surface and the lay of the land. The site receives runoff from some adjoining properties and lies in close proximity to Lake Lanier, a water supply reservoir. For these reasons, the developer is advised to maintain at least minimum required buffers between streams and impervious surfaces and is encouraged to exceed the buffers where the stormwater runoff will be greatest and or where the natural landscape is weakest in capturing and treating the runoff. Again, I ask, does Forsyth County staff have competency to manage this project? Why don't I stop here? Again, I'm grateful. Thank you.
Ms. Allen. I think you have 20 seconds left. Just kidding.
I just want to say thank you so much. It was impressive to see you respond to the citizens of Waterford. There are residents in my community, I'm just speaking extemporaneously right now, who are watching online, and we have an emergency situation with a 24-hour generator sitting on top of that dam. Very difficult for the residents in our community, but we realize that it is an emergency, so thank you for listening on our behalf. Again, I'm grateful for the extension of time. I'll continue here. Former Forsyth County Senior Planner Teresa Monroe Cox completed the Development of Regional Impact Application DRI 1200 Environmental Quality Questions inaccurately, answering no to questions about wetlands, protected river corridor, floodplain. Here is the FEMA map that contradicts this. Other environmentally sensitive resources, according to the Grossman Engineering Report dated April 27, 2018, the Lanier Golf Club site on Buford Dam Road drains directly into Lake Lanier and Haw Creek, a tributary of the Chattahoochee River. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources Buford Trout Hatchery is located just downstream on the Chattahoochee River. The hatchery holds approximately 1/3 of the entire inventory of trout stocked annually for the enjoyment of Georgia anglers. Past developments in these watershed just upstream from Buford Hatchery have had significant stormwater management challenges. Large volumes of warm, muddy stormwater enter Haw Creek, flow downriver, and enter the hatchery intake. These warm stormwaters contributed to the loss of more than 60,000 hatchery trout during an event in 1989. The potential for stormwater-related fish kills still exists. Is stormwater runoff being properly managed during construction so that downstream properties and natural resources, including the Chattahoochee River and Buford Trout Hatchery, are protected? And just to clear, this may have come from actually the DRI staff findings, summary of staff review. Forgive me if there's any confusion there. Again, I asked, does Forsyth County staff have competency to manage this project? Ken Gerard directed the county to pay Grossman Engineering for an environmental study for the county's defense in 2017. Here's a copy of the invoice. Yet in an attorney-client communication dated October 25, 2018 stated, I would place more confidence in staff findings than the Grossman report. Similarly, Mr. Gerard wrote on November 6, 2018, I'm not in a position to advise definitively why the GMRC recommended condition regarding soil testing did not become part of the final zoning decision. Again, I ask, does the Forsyth County staff have competency to manage this project? Chairman Levent, you were quoted as saying you can't say for certain whether or not the developer is taking into account the environmental impact. Again, I ask, does Forsyth County staff have competency to manage this project? Urgent action is needed. First, may I please ask you to stop work order immediately in order to stop soil disturbance and water draining into Lake Lanier from the Lanier Golf Club site until the EPA can assess if there are soil contamination issues and do groundwater sampling and turbidity testing. Second, has the EPA/EPD assessed the environmental impact of removing the dam between Lake Lanier and Pond Number 1? 2 separate environmental studies have relied on Pond Number 1. May I finish?
How much time do you have? Because we've already extended you one time.
Less than a
I
minute.
think this is the only.
Is that okay? Okay.
Period, though,
Yeah,
right?
that's all right.
Thank
I
you.
have a motion, second to extend it.
Motion to extend a minute.
A minute, and I'll give a second. Please vote. Thank you. Okay.
I'm grateful for your kindness. Thank you so much. 2 separate environmental studies have relied on Pond Number 1 and Pond Number 2 remaining intact in the development. Grossman Engineering and Environmental Services, January 12, 2007, and April 26, 2007, as well as the Register Nelson Engineering Report, September 19, 2007. Third, and finally, please ask the EPA/EPD to do an assessment of aquatic resources that are protected by federal, state, and local laws throughout the entire property. The Grossman Engineering and Environmental Services reports document 13 streams, numerous wetlands, and perhaps hundreds of springs, half of which flow into Lake Lanier while the other half flows east through a large 100-year floodplain and then into the Chattahoochee River. The report documents aquatic resources that are protected by federal, state, and local laws. Both federal and state laws require that in order for permits to be considered, impacts to aquatic resources must be avoided to the maximum extent possible, and any unavoidable impacts must be minimized. Is it not clear that both draining the ponds and clear-cutting the property is devastating the habitat and natural ecosystem? Both the Grossman and Register Nelson environmental studies state that the ponds are not to be impacted and development will include 4.5 acres of open water. Reed and Reed's site plan does not appear to acknowledge these studies or show any evidence of these stipulations being followed. Again, I'm a resident. I'm not an engineer, but I ask that you.
That's it.
Thank you.
So my comment to you, I think you took it out of text.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioners do not manage staff. We hire a county manager. Organizational chart lays it out that way.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you I don't know what they're doing, it's because I don't manage them. I don't watch them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have been watching the site. It's not my place to be there. I'm not an engineer.
Your efforts on our behalf, sincerely.
Just to clear my comment, because I think you used it out of text. Thank you, Miss Allen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone else wishes to address the board during this final public comment period, please come forward at this time.